Muslims in general and those non-Muslims who are in the international scientific community for his great achievements. Inshallah, we're going to be joined by Dr. Ahmad Abdel Tawwab. He's a professor, Tawwab. He is a professor of linguistics here in Egypt. Dr. Tawwab, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Huda tonight.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for having me on your program.
Yes, it's our pleasure to have you. Please help us characterize the contributions that Dr. Ahmed made to the world of science, some of the scientific discoveries, and the impact that he had on the world at large.
Sure. Well, let me just say, first of all, I would like to present my condolences to his family, to everyone in our country, Egypt, to everyone in the world. Dr. Ahmad Zuwail was just an icon. He was an iconic person to the whole world. He made great contributions, and he made great accomplishments as well. And that's why I would prefer to call him, he was not an Egyptian citizen, or he was not a U.S. citizen, but he was a global citizen. Dr. Ahmad Zuwail made a great inventions in the history of science and knowledge. Let's remember when he obtained the Nobel Prize in 1999, he said it was just the first step to discover more about science and knowledge. And I think for such a scholar or for such a scientist, he was really, someone who was passionate. Just 2 days ago, I was watching a video for him, and he was talking about how young people should be dedicated and should be passionate for their work. And I think that was the key point for Dr. Zuwail's record, that he did a great job in his lifetime, and he was a role model as well for a lot of people. So when we remember his inventions and his accomplishments, let's remember what he did in science. For example, the femtosecond inventions, and he discovered after that the movement of the molecules that could happen within a split of seconds. And let's remember also what he did in his country, Egypt, when he built up a lot of schools and universities. We have a university today in Egypt. It's called Ahmad Zuwail University, and I'm sure it's going to be like a beacon of knowledge. It's going to be a symbol of information and enlightenment in our modern history. Egypt has already the Library of Alexandria, and nowadays we're going to have something else. It is called the Beacon of Knowledge, represented by Dr. Zuwail.
Very nice. Doctor, could you please, everyone who becomes a great success doesn't always have an easy start. Can you describe some of the difficulties, the challenges that Dr. Ahmed experienced getting his start?
As any Egyptian who would like to contribute or to make any great job abroad, I think it was a dream of Dr. Zuwail to travel abroad and to make something. And let me just also say something, that Dr. Zuwail did have what it is called internal struggling inside himself. He didn't want to leave his country at the beginning, and he was, after that, he was determined and driven to travel abroad just to make a contribution. And I think one of the struggles that he faced probably could be the cultural differences. I remember his words when he was talking about Nobel Prize, and he said that I never heard about this word before when I was in Alexandria. And then when I traveled in California and in Pennsylvania, where he got his doctorate degree, he discovered another different world. That was challenging for him. And I'm just telling you the same what I faced, because I was in the United States and I was teaching in the U.S. universities, and I faced the same situation. So it's internal struggles that everyone probably could have, that he is, that he is looking for his country with an eye, and at the same time he is interested to make something tangible in the scientific world on the other hand. And I think that's what he did perfectly. He was a role model. He was a clear, wonderful example for everyone that he could connect between two different countries, two different worlds, with two different cultures as well. And so when it comes to the cultural background, the social context, the religious concepts as well, and the artistic views as well, if we just listen to him, we can find that he was a combination of different symbolic meanings inside one character. That was Dr. Zuwail.
Another question I'd like to ask you. You mentioned that he benefited Egyptians by developing this center of technology, science and technology to help cultivate new scientists. And what about the larger Muslim ummah? Can you talk about the impact that he had on the larger Muslim world?
I think that he also made a great job when it comes to helping the Muslim ummah into pushing them into the world of knowledge and information. Nowadays, when we just, as you can follow the news, what's happening in the Western world, and such attacks, such terrorist attacks that are happening in every European countries, and sometimes they connect. So now when they mention someone who is a Muslim, like Dr. Ahmad Zuwail, it's clear from his name that he is a Muslim as well. And so when we see such contributions from such a scholar, that can be also and inspiring for every Muslim to follow suit his way and to follow suit his steps. And by the way, this is the basic step in Islam. And as you know, that it is the first word that came in Quran was Iqra, read. And so I think that Dr. Zuwail, what he made for the Muslim Ummah, that he applied the real meanings of religion in science and in his field. And I think this is what we really need nowadays. We need a connection and we need an application between the words and the action. Dr. Zuwail was pioneering. He was prominent in doing that. May Allah bless his soul.
Thank you. One last question, Dr. Tawwab, if you don't mind. We have a very serious problem of brain drain on the African continent, in Asia, throughout the Muslim Ummah. We understand that young people want to start their lives, get these high-paying jobs, get these degrees. Can you talk about this, address this for people who are wanting to immigrate to Western countries to get degrees and get jobs?
Well, you know, this is, if we just read the biography of Dr. Zuwail, he got a degree from Egypt. His bachelor's degree was from Egypt. And after that, he got his MA, his master's degree, his doctor's degree from American universities. And what happened after that, he never disconnected himself or put himself in isolation from his homeland. That is the message that he wanted to send to everyone. And I think that this is the message also that we have to send to everyone here today. That is, you have the right to immigrate, you have the right to do what you want to do, but you also have to understand that there is something that you should do for your ummah and for your country, for your homeland as well. Try not to put yourself in an isolated context.
Yes.
Try not to disconnect yourself from your traditional roots. And I think that's what Dr. Zuwail actually did. So if somebody would like to travel and immigrate to get his degrees, he should consider some other points, like to what extent I can help my community, how can I help the humanity in general. And I think that this is the core point of Islam, that is helping others and building the society and trying to be interactive. Not to think about yourself or not to think about just your family or just your own achievements or to think in a very isolating way. No, but think about others and try to extend your hand to help others. And look to what Dr. Zuwail did. Now, he passed away. May Allah bless his soul. However, he also left something like accomplishment in his country. So we will remember what he did. That is what we want to do nowadays in our lifetime.
Dr. Ahmad Abdul Tawwab, thank you so much for being with us, helping us understand Dr. Ahmad and his contributions. Assalamu alaikum to you, and we look forward to being with you in the future.
Thank you for having me.
We'd like to continue to our next news item. It takes us to Britain.